good technique, he will be elite. If his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Famer.
Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being a double team, multiple moves stacked into one, just a play of pure domination. This is actual film, this is actual football talk. It's a football show, we're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
And you are listening to another edition of Blewett's Blitz. At this point, I stopped counting because what is the point? We're going to be doing the second half of the Corey Davis film review. I'm going to give my strengths and weaknesses. The first half I did with Marcus Coleman. We went through 20 plays. We talked some of the Jets offseason at first, thoughts on the Salah hire, thoughts on Sam Darnold getting traded. We talked a lot of that stuff, plus some quarterback talk about Fields versus Wilson. But this show, I'm going to be rounding out like the last 30 or so plays I have of Davis. You guys will be listening to this probably on Sunday, the day it comes out. But Wednesday coming up, this upcoming Wednesday, which is like April whatever it is, I don't know, 14th, I think it is, Wednesday. Myself, Robbie Sabo, and Michael Nani will be doing a live stream, probably 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm not sure on the time. I will promote that on Twitter at JoeRB31. But make sure to be there for that. You can comment. Obviously, you can call in as well. It's something we're going to be trying to do more with the three of us. Either once a month or maybe even like every other week or two. So depending on how the schedules work out. So we'll keep in touch with that. Before the draft, after that show, we'll have the Sheldon Rankin show after that. That'll be quite a long one. I think I got about 60 plays. So that'll be about a 2.5 hour show on Rankins. And then after that, we'll be doing, we're going to hold off on Cole and Joyner and all those guys until after the draft and after we get through the first, top 3 rounds of picks, maybe 4 rounds of picks. People really like to see. I'll start putting some votes out there. But right before the draft, I'll be doing a smaller sample review of the first 30 plays I have of Wilson in no particular order. I think that's all of his. I think my first 30 plays are all of his 2019 films. So you'll see a lot of the 2019 film, and then my first 30 plays of Justin Fields, which I believe I took some 2019 from him as well, or a lot of 2019 from him as well. So you'll be looking at 2019 film, then we'll talk about them. I'm not even necessarily going to give strengths and weaknesses minus what I'm talking about. Then the draft comes. After draft weekend, we'll be doing a live stream, myself and Kyle Smith, to recap the draft and talk about thoughts and things like that. And then we get into just breaking these guys down. Like I said, the first couple of guys I know you guys are going to want to see, and then we'll have some votes to see if they want to do, their 4th round receiver versus Keelan Cole or whoever it's going to be. So a lot of content coming up for you guys, but I'm going to get right into the Corey Davis film and talk about some of his strengths and weaknesses that I wrote down. Again, some of these lists just based on the time right now with all this draft stuff coming up, with all the free agents coming out. I might repeat a strength or a weakness or two because I go through it and I kind of just mark things down, and I might repeat it because I don't really read it through. But this is definitely what I feel. So strengths I have, again, 26 years old, 6'3", 205, which me and Marcus talked about it, or Marcus and I talked about that. I believe that he's probably 215, 220 at this point. I don't see him as a 205 type body. 3 years, $37 million, $27 million guaranteed, $3 million dead after 2 years if they want to get rid of him, and save about $9 million or so, which I don't see happening, to be completely honest. But strengths, a lot of them you saw, a lot of them we spoke about. Routes, blocking, contested catchability, physical, yak, hands and routes, sideline awareness, hands catcher, adjusts the ball well, good hands, size, body control, attacks balls, sudden force size, knows how to alter speeds, very good with subtle hand in routes, sells drive phase, speed, cuts for size, acceleration, attacks DB's leverage, not afraid over the middle, patient in his route running, boxes out cornerbacks over middle, shorten strides before breaks, rocker steps, can play slot ZX, Will stack cornerbacks, leans into them to hold his line before breaks and leans into them being corners. Physical at the top of his stem, push buys, squirt releases, hop steps, finds soft spots, used as an H-back, inline tight end, quick to tuck ball away, pressure stems, can make tough adjustments to bad balls, height, strong hands, length, concentration catches, comes into top of his routes with a good speed. I already said acceleration, deceleration, can be patient versus off coverage, foot fire, short strides near top of breaks, bam steps, peak techniques, doesn't give away routes with eyes out of break at proper time, stretch releases, skip release, hop release. So there's a lot of things I just threw together while I'm watching it. Weaknesses, I said, not not top-notch speed, good but not great athlete. Would like to see him drop weight more into stop break steps more consistently. Want to see more effort to close ground, better angles on run blocks. Not many reps versus press with a question mark. There were some, I guess initially early. I wouldn't necessarily agree that I saw enough of that. Can he be the guy is a question. Back-breaking routes and curls and comebacks, things like that. He leans out, doesn't commit consistently fully to his stop steps. Want arms more tight during breaks. He can widen the stem a little bit too much. Some concentration drops, which was more towards the end of the season when I think he was pressing a little bit to get 1,000 yards. Didn't see a ton of vertical routes. And then I already said this leans out of second, third stops at a time. So not a lot of weaknesses compared to a pretty big list of strengths. But again, while I'll speak with Marcus, I did say that he was a guy who had a ton of strengths and not a ton of weaknesses, but like a master of none type guy. And again, I will try to have Marcus on for some other guys like Keelan Cole. Like we'll see. I'm going to have him on at least for a live stream this off season, where you guys can ask him questions or call in or do whatever. And then we'll have him on for at least another film show or two. We'll see. He's a pretty busy guy, but versatility I put up on this play. He's right here. Basically, this is what I would call a Y off. So he's an inline tight end right here, and that he has the ability to block safeties, to block corners. I might have one of him blocking a linebacker or a D end, but you could see the blocking capability of him. Obviously, staying square, squaring up his target, dropping the shoulder, driving the feet, strong hands to maintain contact. These are all things he can do. So all positives. I probably should have put a play versus DN in here. I think I did. Again, these reviews are pretty much recorded depending on the month of probably a month before you guys see them, or maybe not a month, a couple of weeks before you see them. So sometimes I can forget to play. Davis out top. Top of this. He's the top of the screen right here. Let's see. Yeah, again, this is one he doesn't win. Another good job, like a lot of stuff we talked about with Marcus and I. This DB is playing like inside the heads up and off coverage, 9 yards off. That's not necessarily no man's land. That's just solid off coverage. Usually it's like 7 to 10 yards. Obviously, depending on the look, that's generically how far it is. But stems inside to move the cornerback inside. Again, good job selling the drive phase. Look how condense his body as he's really selling that he's going deep right here. Closes ground, gets on the defensive back's toes, short strides them. Some people, again, foot fire, short stride, motor, whatever you want to call it. Foot fire is more when you're in place. I call it more short strides when you're actually closing ground on a guy and just short striding him. So I'll say it's a short stride, but if you want to call it a foot fire, again, I just differentiate if you're actually covering a lot of, depending on the ground, the distance you're covering. And some people call foot fire, short stride, just motor in general. So I don't really use motor though. So again, drops his weight, short strides, defeats the arms. You can see his arms come out, wipe the arms away. A good tight break while maintaining, while carrying that speed through his route. Break right there at the left, drops into it, drive, not too far outside of his frame, gets over it, and whips outside. Again, now he wasn't targeted here, but full speed, it's definitely a good route. Playing off the leverage, drive phase, short striding, and then making a good break outside right there that Davis does. Okay route, attack ball. Okay, so I don't know what my criticism of this route is, but top of the screen right here. Again, and somebody talked about and I noticed it too. I don't know really what to do about it. My room kind of like echoes in here, and it makes like a weird sound where the mic doesn't sound as clean as it should. If people have recommendations, like cheaper recommendations, I know people, you could soundproof your room and all that stuff or whatever to make it sound cleaner. But if anybody knows any techie guys out there, anything I can like put in the room or anything that could help me out, I don't know why it sounds like that, but I'm not the tech guy. Like me having this thing in front of the mic, it's about as techie as I get. So if you can help out somebody who's, again, not the most techie, I'm like technologically dysfunctional or something. I can't think of a good phrase for that, but top of the screen. Again, this is like one of the back-breaking routes I talk about. Again, dry phase is good. He's good at that. I put that in his strengths. Stop step with that left. 1, 2, 3. Do you see how he's kind of like turning out on that third step? You're really, especially when you're breaking inside, you're going to, on at least the right side of the field, you're going to be breaking back really with that right foot. So I want to see him commit more to drop his hips more into 1, 2. You see how he's sitting back a little bit? Like, so for back breaking routes, to me, again, he starts to lean out a little bit. Like he doesn't commit to those stop steps. Like here, I want to see more commitment. There, I want to see more commitment. And once your eyes come out early like this and you're leaning back, you're just rounding out your route. So you want to see slam over 1, 2, 3, and then really pop off of this foot, the right foot right there, and then attack the ball. Like, do you see at the top right here, all this dead time? There's a lot of dead time right there. And a 1, he's looking for the ball, but 2 or 3 or whatever point it is, these steps want to be more forceful, and you want to see him more committed to it. Again, you want your eyes to be really basically looking at all of your stop steps, then again, really whip out with this third break or the fourth step, which is the break step, and pop out of it. But again, the positive of it is, I said he attacks the ball, where again, he closes some ground on that ball, extends to it, catch, strong hands, keeps it away from the defensive back, doesn't necessarily tuck it into his body because that's where a hand may or may not be coming, and makes the catch. So positives and negatives in that play. All right, next play. Okay, we're out, breaks early, great catch. Top of the screen right here. Dry phase. Now, again, I don't know what the route is called. There's some routes I'll bring up, later on. Whether that be like a blaze out or like a Dover, like there's many different names for routes, and some of them actually ask to round out your route a little bit. So sometimes without knowing it is a little bit difficult. It does look a little bit rounded, but again, it could just be by design, to be completely honest. So I do want to preface that. Dry phase. And again, and based on his route running, I don't think he usually rounds stuff out. So it's maybe by design, to break really as fast as you can, like a Dover, and round it out right to the goal line. So again, a lot of speed in that route, carries it the entire way through. He really doesn't like gear down at all right there. There's no, he's still running 90% as he's turning that corner. So it's really hard for that corner to get off or to get on it. Again, that corner is playing it with bad technique, to be honest. I'm not going to get into that, but the fact that he has help in his cover 4 look, he should, if anything, be playing with outside, because if this safety has no threat, he should be locking onto the one right there anyway. So not a good play by the corner, but good adjustment to the ball. Again, body control, snatching a ball at a really high point, not an easy catch, and then obviously makes a ridiculous play in terms of getting his hands in or his feet in bounds. But again, not an easy catch to make. You have to have really good body control, good extension, good strong hands. Again, tucks 1, 2, and really good job turning his body too. It's something that's underrated that good receivers do, is when they turn their body. You see a lot of guys when they fall on their stomachs, the ball pops out. That's why you want to tuck. That's tuck the ball away and kind of spin. Exactly for that reason. Let me bring up the next play. Somehow this got messed up. What play was that? That was 24. Okay, 25. Obviously right here. Hop, squirt, push by. We talked about this route before. This is the last play I brought up with Marcus, but we didn't really talk about it. I kind of just played this in the background. But again, now this is him versus press coverage. Hop step with the left to left. And again, it's to close ground. It's to throw off the DB at times. Again, if you're coming up, if you're breaking, or if you're planting off of that left foot and driving off of it, and you're going to, and if anything, if they're going to expect a quick break, it's going to be inside because I think it's going to be off that right foot. It's just to throw them off a little bit. It's also to not close as much ground instead of bringing this foot up. And then having to step forward again with the left, you're not closing as much ground. You're throwing off the DB a little bit. You're reading his body. You're giving that slight hesitation to read exactly what he's doing. The defensive back drops his weight onto his heels, which is not good, but closes ground, pumps the arms, squirt release with the 1, 2, 3, selling that fade, shoulders down. 1, 2, 3, break inside, drop 1, 2, tight break. You see the hands right here, the club, find the ball, catch it, even though it's in an awkward spot. Like that area where it's like to like the chest belly button area is always kind of awkward. So do you duck into it? Do you go overhand? Do you go underhand? It's really preference as long as you do it properly. And he goes underhand, but again, not with his body. Look how he catches it with his hands in that awkward spot. So that's an important note. I like that. And then obviously gets some yak, but again, nice job catching that ball, even with it being in more of an awkward spot with the fingers, hands, quick to tuck, look for more yardage. Next play. Just do this real quick. 25. Okay. All right. Right here, push off timing threat cornerback. Okay, now we're just seeing a deep over crossing route, over again, deep over crossing, drag, all the same family. People differentiate on how deep you're really taking that stem until you break to get flat, but we'll call it an over. Stem inside. And again, holding his ground in terms of not just breaking this flat as the corner closes ground on him, because if he breaks flat, the corner's going to be on the hip. Where he doesn't really have it, he wouldn't really have any control of it. He does a good job keeping it vertical, maintain or getting contact with the defensive back. You see him throwing that little chicken wing in there, pushing off. Now that creates even a little bit more separation. Again, not a ton, but if he were to break it flat, that's got to be right on his hip. So he creates that extra half yard of separation. Quick to find the ball. Again, right to his face mask, hands catch. Tuck and turn. Another good route. Again, really good contested routes over the middle. I do want to see if in LaFleur's system that the Jets will be running, if they do run him a little bit more vertical and like 9 routes, not necessarily just crossing routes. I'll be interested to see how he does in that, because he did not do a lot of it with the Titans. A guy like Keelan Cole ran them more. A guy like Mims ran them more. So I'm interested to see how exactly they pull that off or what they do. Bob on the screen right here versus soft press, getting a little bit towards no man's land. It's there, but it's not like if he stays patient, if he shuffles, if he's watching the hips, if he stays over top, you can pull it off. You're not putting yourself in necessarily the best position, in my opinion, right here, being that 3 yards ish off. It's a little bit too far for me. Again, the route stem is good right here. Races inside, shoulders down. He's doing a lot with his feet. races inside, plants hard inside to get vertical. He gives him like a little bit of rocker. So that's what he does. He gives him a rocker. So 1, 2, back inside. Now this guy thinks, okay, he gave me the rocker. He's going inside. Like nobody, there's not a lot of receivers who throw out, rocker steps and then continue their route inside to sell you inside. Like usually if it's a rocker, okay, now he's committed to inside because, look at me, his rocker didn't just beat me. So 1, 2 at the rocker, continues vertical. DB staying high and over the top again, not on the hip. Almost called the MIMS. Davis breaks down. 1, 2, 3. More like a square cut outside. 1, 2, 3. Break, drive. Again, gets his hips over top of it. It's a little bit outside of his frame, but he still stays pretty flat over top of it. Gets to the outside. Now, again, he didn't catch the ball here, but again, I thought it was a pretty good route throwing that rocker to make the defensive back commit to believing it's an inside vertical. Deep out, blaze out, Dover. Again, it's whatever terminology you want to use depending on the offense. Dovers and blaze outs are slightly different. You really get the technicalities of exactly what the coach wants, but they're relatively similar routes. He's on the bottom of the screen. Again, see, like the situations like this, like games I was talking about, like, okay, you're watching film and like you can't necessarily see the numbers on this. Like him and AJ Brown have like the same body. So it's hard to tell exactly who is who, especially when they're in the same socks. But again, I spoke about it. Socks tucked, socks not tucked. Like that was the only thing that helped me in a lot of these games. So thank you for that, I guess. Bottom of the screen. Again, just the speed he carries into that route. Like, look, I really like it's one of his strongest suits is how much he sells vertical. Like his drive phase, like he really has good pacing in his routes. Again, you see how he's shortening his stride before his break, but he still has his shoulders down where he's really selling vertical. You have 44, which is Humphrey, opens up because he's selling that vertical. He goes open up. Davis breaks 1, break, drive, line. Now again, this is rounded. Some of these Dovers, these blaze outs call for it being rounded. And again, the speed he's carrying into this route, it's okay. Like look at how much he's giving in terms of that drive phase. So it could be a little bit rounded at times. Again, it all depends on the concept. It depends on what the receiver coach, what the offensive coordinator is asking for. But even with it being like air quotes rounded, the fact that he's able to get at this route as quickly as he does, with how much he was running vertical, snaps it down. Again, now the thing that Marcus talked about too is now he doesn't just flatten, he flattens back towards the ball. So he actually attacks the ball. Again, makes the adjustment to it, makes a diving catch for the ball. Really good route. Good job cradling it and getting his hands under. That's not an easy catch. That's not an easy adjustment to make after just running the way he did on that route. So let's see, next one. Pressure steps. Okay. Bottom of the screen, the little slits. Oh no, see? Top of the screen. Now his freaking socks are untucked. See? Screwed me up. Davis, top of the screen. So again, he uses these pressure steps, pressure stem, to keep Humphrey right here, who's in that off man, to keep him vertical. So like you see how so it's another deep over or an over. You see how he starts to break inside, but then he alters his stem to pressure him. It's just pressure steps. So it's inside, then he takes, let's say 1, 2, 3 pressure steps, or like 2 pressure steps. So 1, 2, break, and then he creates that separation. That was just because of the pressure steps. That's exactly why he did that, to create that room. Again, now attacking the ball is high, good hands catch, tuck, lower the shoulder, but break inside, 1, 2, break. So good job using those pressure steps right there. 1-2, break. Good job gearing down for the ball, coming back to it, attacking it. He doesn't catch it super cleanly, but he's still able to bring it in even through that chop of 24, which is
Jimmy Smith, right?
No, it's Peters. What number did Jimmy Smith wear for them? Is he even still on team? I know it's Peters and Humphreys. I completely forgot Peters for a second. I don't know if Jimmy Smith is still there. I think he is. 30. Nod post. Adjust. Bottom of the screen right here in this stack. It's really almost like a tray because the tight end's so close, but let's see. Yeah, it's just a nod post. We're going to take it vertical, and then you're going to take like a step or two outside. You'll see some guys really break down and get outside, depending on the pacing they want on the ramp.
For the rest of this video, the full video of the Blewett Blitz Part 2 Corey Davis breakdown, click the link in the description below and become a JetX subscriber for free today.